Siskel Ebert review, Brandon Lee seeking revenge on the men who killed him in The Crow. Every day's a new day for Detective Dana Carvey in Clean Slate. And Alfre Woodard has her hands full raising 5 kids in Spike Lee's Crooklyn.
A family of 5 children entertained themselves in front of the TV set in the 70s in Spike Lee's latest picture, Crooklyn, a different kind of movie from Spike Lee and one of 5 new films we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert, along with the movie that claimed the life of Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son, plus the latest comedy with Dana Carvey. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Our first film is Spike Lee's Crooklyn, and this is obviously a film close to Lee's heart. He says it's not autobiography, but it's inspired by the years when he was growing up in Brooklyn, and it recalls a world before crack, before guns, and a family and a neighborhood that both worked. Co-written by Lee with his sister Joie Susanna Lee and his brother Sankey Lee, it's set in the early 1970s when 4 brothers and a sister in the Carmichael family share a noisy household here with the Partridge family.
Went to sleep with you all my life. Is the TV on? No!
The story is told mostly through the eyes of the only girl in the family named Troy and played by Zelda Harris. After her parents have a fight, she gives some unsolicited advice to her father, a musician played by Delroy Lindo.
Troy, your father's sorry about last night.
It's not your fault, Daddy.
You know, Daddy doesn't want to fight or yell or scream or holler. All Daddy wants to do is play his music.
The mother is played in a strong and effective performance by Alfre Woodard.
Come on, Mommy. Why I gotta eat this?
Black-eyed peas have calcium.
All the calcium in the world ain't gonna make up for this nasty taste.
It might have made up for your broke arm.
Crooklyn isn't a movie that's heavy on plot. It's heavier on memory, and it's a very personal film in which Lee and his brother and sister try to understand the daily pressures on the father, a gifted but financially unsuccessful musician, and the mother, a hard-working school teacher who never has quite enough money to make ends meet. The movie has some surprises in it, some of them sad ones, but it also has a very thoughtful message. Spike Lee seems to be asking why this safer and healthier world disappeared from America's inner cities and whether it could somehow be rebuilt.
I like the film, too. There's one big glaring error I think he makes in the picture. Let me get rid of that, and then I'm going to start complimenting the film again.
Okay.
And that's when she goes off for a trip to relatives in the South, and he compresses the images using an anamorphic lens and makes everything seem squeezed tight. And people are going to wonder whether the projectionist is out of sync or something. And it was a mistake because I think the material, the world there, would have been so different. We could all see it that he didn't need to do that gimmick.
Well, one thing that also caught my attention, one thing that Spike Lee has done in his films, almost alone among filmmakers, is to experiment with visual styles.
That's
For example, the people who are walking and they look like they're floating, or in this movie, the 360-degree shot.
There's lots of different shots.
And I think you have to give him credit, Gene, for trying to portray the fact that this world looks so alien to that young girl that it just doesn't look like the real world at all. I think audiences will get used to it. They'll accept it. They can learn from this show that there's nothing wrong with the projectionist.
The strengths of the picture far override any of the mistakes. The strengths are that I like that a more adventures movie makes is not tell a conventional story.
Yeah.
I will say that after the first 20 minutes, people are going to be sitting there wondering when the conventional story is going to kick in, and it doesn't. He's building a mosaic of this family, these characters, and we feel the pressures. Like in few family films, we really feel the pressures, particularly on the dad. He gives a real strong performance. It's a complicated portrayal of a father, realistic. We don't have any movies about young black women at all. We just don't get them at all. And here is one with this character. I enjoyed the picture a lot.
I did too. He didn't try to make it into an artificial story that ends, because after all, childhood is a beginning. And at the end of this film, you realize that they're on the launching pad now for whatever is going to happen later.
It's a good piece of work.
Okay.